I'm Jean-Marc Bellier from La Maison du Whisky. I'm reading some tasting notes for the brochure, and I'm the manager of the shop in Rue d'Anjou. It's a pleasure to have Charles MacLean, who was in the shop a few years ago.
I was indeed.
Yes, and if you can present you, please.
Well, I am, as you know, I'm Charles MacLean. I have been writing about whiskey now for over 30 years.
Yes.
I also write for Whisky and Fine Spirits
yes.
magazine. I was the founding editor of Whisky magazine in London, but between ourselves, yours is a much better magazine. I don't write for Whisky magazine London now.
Okay.
I write books mainly, and as you say, I had a small role in a film called La Part des Anges, par Ken Loach.
Ken Loach. Okay.
But I'm here. I'm doing 2 master classes here at Whisky Live Paris. The one which is about to start is a development that I've made on an aroma wheel.
Okay.
It's traditional, it has been since the late 1970s, to explore the flavors of whiskey, particularly the aromas, in relation to a wheel. So it's designed in a wheel. So the hub of the wheel has the core aromatic groups, such as cereal, floral, fruity, peaty, woody, winey.
Spicy, maybe?
Spicy falls under woody.
Okay.
But it's the same idea, and then that's the core.
Yes, okay.
And then, for example, under peaty, you've got smoky, medicinal, and I've put maritime under that as well.
Yes, yes.
And then the third tier beyond that is smoky. Well, is it tar? Is it creosote? Is it coal fire? Is it like a barbecue? What kind of smoke is it? Do you know? Medicinal, hospital corridors is a common one. And it goes right through from very, very light medicinal to extreme surgical spirit, very, very strong medicinal sense. Fruity, you know, dried fruits, fresh fruits, citric fruits, tinned fruits, artificial fruits, and so on. You know? And so it's a way, it's a useful tool to analyze when you're confronted by smelling, when you're smelling a whiskey, to try and identify, has it got any cereal notes, has it got any floral notes, has it got any smoky notes, etc., etc.
Okay. I have one question. Do you think it's necessary that the whiskey was equilibrate between the aromas to be good?
No.
Or
the very few whiskies will demonstrate all the aromas. Indeed, I can't think of any. You tend to get groups where they might be cereal, floral, fruity, and then other groups which might be smoky, maritime, woody, or whatever. But some of the so-called sherried style whiskies, the ones that have been matured in European oak, will demonstrate dried fruit flavors, and also woody and possibly winey flavors. Excuse me, but it's not necessary for a good whiskey. Indeed, the malt whiskey is recognized to be the most complex spirit in the world, and so the glorious thing about it is that you can try and discern layers of aroma and types of aroma. It's worth exploring. I always say to people that it's worthy of consideration. Do you know? I always say also that drink it how you like. But you see, for aroma and for sensory evaluation and appreciation, no to ice, yes to water.
Do you notice an evolution between the 60s, for example, to now, in the aromas in the whiskey? Or?
Yes, I do. I also notice I've been writing about whiskey for over 30 years, as I said, and the evolution of appreciation has increased massively in this period. The whiskey industry is very concerned to retain the style and character of each individual malt as part of their job. Their main customers are the blenders, and so the blended whiskey, the blenders do not want a change. If I own a distillery, you own a distillery, and I own a blend, and we swap I don't want you to change your style because it'll mess up my blend, and same
yes.
all the way around. So they're very, very carefully made to retain the character, the distillery character. Now, there have been changes in production since the 1960s, and the whiskies made then were certainly different. They were much more variable. They weren't better necessarily, although many of us who have tasted these old whiskies might prefer them. But they were certainly different to the whiskey made today.
And you prefer the old or
I tend to prefer even if it's a young whiskey, but made in the 1960s.
Okay.
Indeed, the most malt whiskies in those days were bottled at 5, 8 years old, maybe 5, 8, 10.
Okay.
And even at a young age, they have very interesting characteristics.
And what about the influence of the alcohol on the flavor? Do you think that cask strength is better than something at 40%? Or?
The thing about cask strength whiskey is that higher strength alcohol holds the flavor, the aromas and tastes in better, but they're not designed to be drunk at high strength. I mean, it's up to you, and especially when you're drinking over ice, it's quite pleasant that. But if you add the water in the glass, some of the chemicals in the whiskey become volatile, and so they come off and become so you can smell them. If you reduce the whiskey on the bottling line, especially down to 40% alcohol, a lot of these have flown off anyway. So you're opening them up. That's the first thing. You're opening up the aroma. But the second thing is that by adding water, whether you're even at 40%, it's a little bit strong in the mouth to hold in the mouth. And so a little water is a good idea to make it easier to taste. So it enhances the aroma and it enhances the taste. So water is a good thing. High strength is a good thing because of what I've said, because it locks in these flavors. But not essential. I mean, I think 46 is a very good bottling strength. By law, Scotch whisky cannot be bottled at lower than 40% alcohol. And the reason for that is that after 40%, below 40%, you get what they call a catastrophic fall off in flavour. And so by law, you can't, if you're maturing cask, a very, very old whiskey, if it goes below 40%, it cannot be sold as whiskey. Now you can restore it by adding
with something higher.
But you see, that higher strength whiskey is likely to be younger than the original, and of course it has to take the age of the youngest whiskey.
What is your favorite type of whiskey?
Blended Scotch.
Blended Scotch?
Yeah. When I just want to have a drink, which
I
I do every night at 6 o'clock, and it's now after 6 o'clock, but
it's 6 o'clock.
It's a blended Scotch that I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charles. Merci beaucoup.
Avec plaisir.
Avec plaisir.